So I just came back from the record store with this. You probably know what this is. You clicked on a video and you know what you're watching. So it's the 11th studio album from Opeth, and it was produced by Steven Wilson and Michael Okerfeldt, if I pronounce it correctly. So yeah, this is my review of Pale Communion by Opeth. So first of all, I know there's a lot of disagreement and controversy a little bit about, Opeth making another 70s prog rock album, but let me just tell you one thing. I love prog rock. Now just wait a minute there. If you're a true and cult metalhead, you might be just saying to yourself,
"Oh yeah, I know what he's gonna say. He's just gonna take defense of this album. He might as well just tell us how Michael's dick tastes like."
If you're not willing to hear a positive review of this album just because Opeth chose to make 70s prog music, you can just skip to this point of the video where I will show you 3 reasons why you should give this album a chance. So when Heritage came out, I thought it was a pretty solid record. I was already pretty big into prog rock and such. I was starting to listen to Pink Floyd, Gentle Giant, Camel and such bands. Heavy influences of Opeth, except maybe for Pink Floyd. But yeah, I thought Heritage was pretty solid. Nothing really too extraordinary or too excellent, but really something I could really enjoy. Then I listened to the stream of Pale Communion for a couple of times now, and I can tell you that even if it's not completely relevant to say so, I think it's considerably superior to Heritage. Heritage really felt like they were messing around with their 70s prog influences a lot, but this album definitely felt more focused and, completely well thought out from beginning to the end. So I'm not saying Pale Communion is Heritage 2.0 or that it's, what Heritage should have been or something like that. I think both have their place amongst the Opeth discography and both show a side of this band with its own light. Pale Communion truly has its own identity. Anyway, we are talking a bit too much about Heritage right now, so let's just go on with the review. So first track is Eternal Rains Will Come. There's nothing really special about this song, aside from the fact that it definitely has some pretty heavy, Deep Purple feel to it. It's a very solid, well-crafted song, but nothing that really struck me. But it was enjoyable, and there's one thing though that I was really happy to hear in this song. It's this beautiful, soothing, calm, melancholic, I guess, guitar that comes in right in the beginning. So the second track is Cusp of Eternity. This song I didn't really enjoy when I first heard it as a single, but it grew on me a lot. Michael's vocal performance is pretty good. It's kind of this creepy-esque vocals that he does very well. The song has a great atmosphere to it, with these atmospheric parts after the chorus, and it definitely is heavy, but undeniably my favorite part of the song was in the end. Every time Opeth makes a solo, it's a great moment, and this song is no exception. There's a great solo accompanied by very complex and Opethian riffs. Then we move on to probably my favorite track of the entire album, and it's Moon Above, Sun Below. The song starts off with some kind of bass groove, which I really like. It sounds very groovy and deep and heavy once again. And it definitely has this warm, organic feeling that was present in Heritage that I really was expecting to see again in this album. And then it becomes even better by blowing your mind with some epic riffing, and goes on with a chorus that is equally interesting. And also there's another acoustic part with an amazing guitar lead, again this kind of soothing, calm and hypnotic guitar playing. And just like the following track, Elysian Woes, beautiful acoustic guitar work with amazing, beautiful, magnificent leads that I absolutely love. Moon Above, Sun Below and Elysian Woes both have everything I like from Opeth. So the fifth track is Goblin, and it's the only instrumental track in this album. It sounds surprisingly similar to Goblin's music. So if you don't know who Goblin are, they are a prog rock band from Italy that were active in the 1970s. So maybe you could consider Goblin to be some kind of tribute to the band. However, the problem with it is that I did not really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. I wasn't really surprised or impressed by it, and by any means, but it's still a pretty enjoyable song nonetheless. Track 6 is to me probably one of the most unique songs in this album, because you see it's kind of a lighter, more easygoing song, especially in the beginning. It's a pretty good song, even if I'm not a fan of, happy sounding songs like this. This one is pretty well made, and it even has some kind of Iron feel to it. And the later part of the song is really good. It has some pretty intense riffing, some kind of complexity, a bit like in Moon Above, Sun Below and Cusp of Eternity. So let's just move on to the two last tracks of the album. Voice of Treason and Faith in Others. I almost consider these two songs to be just one song, because they just flow into each other perfectly. The first thing that jumps right in your face is the use of actual strings. Also in Voice of Treason, Michael's vocals are truly impressive. Frankly, I didn't know that Michael was able to pull out such vocals. Like I said, when Voice of Treason ends, Faith in Others begins, and it has one of the best introductions in the whole album. The strings are used to their absolute perfection, and it's even better in this song than in Voice of Treason. And once again, there are beautiful acoustic passages, which is definitely a highlight when I think about it. In this whole album, the acoustic guitar work is pretty amazing, actually. The outro of the song even has one of the best acoustic passages in it. It's absolutely beautiful, and then the strings faded out to the end. So all in all, this album kind of impressed me a bit, because I expected it to be as good as Heritage that I really liked. It exceeded my expectations in a sense that I thought it was just going to be a Heritage 2.0, and I didn't think the album was going to have such a strong identity. And I'm really glad that they took everything that I like from Opeth and put it in this album. Their musicianship, which is still present, their acoustic guitar work, their hypnotic leads. And with this whole 70s prog rock influence, maybe there's a bit more that could have been made, but still it's a very good record. And just because it's not a death prog album, it's not at all a reason to dismiss it. So that's why I give to you 3 reasons why you should give this album a chance if you haven't already done so yet. First of all, Opeth did not just start messing around with 70s prog. I thought this was actually common knowledge and everybody says that, but actually no, I have seen people stating otherwise.
Oh, they suck now, because ever since Heritage they have these boring 70s rock influences.
So just as a little example, we all like Still Life, right? There's a song in it that's called Benighted. Ever heard of Never Let Go by Camel? Yeah, Camel is a 70s prog rock band, so it's really nothing new for Opeth. Second reason is that Pale Communion has way more Opeth than Heritage does. From very familiar acoustic pieces to heavy and complex Opethian riffs, it definitely feels more like what Opeth used to do. So maybe if you didn't like Heritage, you may like this album a lot more. Third reason, you should always expand your musical experience and knowledge. If you really listened to Pale Communion and didn't like it, legitimately didn't like it, it's perfectly fine. But if you just listened to it 2-3 seconds and dismissed it because it was, another Heritage, then you should reconsider your decision. Just because a band goes in a different direction than what they used to do, doesn't mean that you should not listen to them anymore. Even if you're completely sure that you won't like what they do. Listen to it, but not just 2-3 minutes or 1 or 2 songs. Listen to it carefully. Give it a real chance. You might enjoy it, and you might even want to explore more musical genres. But anyway, despite everything I said, maybe I'm crazy, so let me know what you think of Pale Communion in the comments, and have a good one.